Is Hyperx's best mouse still worth your money? If you talk about a wired mouse in 2026 that isn't made by Endgame Gear, chances are people will have clicked off this video before they even heard the end of this sentence. But for those of you that stayed, meet the Hyperx Pulsefire Haste 2. In this video, I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and by the time this video ends, you'll know if this mouse is for you. Let's talk unboxing and accessories. In the box you get the mouse, a quick start guide, a spare set of skates, and some included grip tape. Sadly, it is not color matched. You also get some extra paperwork you can throw away immediately. It isn't exactly a stacked box, but it doesn't need to be. In terms of price, versions, and shape overview, the mouse is symmetrical, right-hand optimized, and usually retails for £60 or $80 USD from Hyperx directly. At the time of this video, the white wired version was only £25, which is why I picked it up. Hyperx makes a lot of versions of this mouse, but realistically, only two of them make sense to get: the wired and the Pro. I'll throw the full lineup on screen now. The Mini can work if you've got very small hands, but the rest are hard to justify. Don't worry, this chaos of configurations doesn't make sense to me either. In terms of shape and internals, this version and all others excluding the core uses the Hyperx 26K sensor. Hyperx won't say what sensor it actually is, but functionally it behaves exactly like a 3395, so that's how I'm treating it. They do all use Hyperx mechanicals except the Pro, which uses opticals, and the core, which uses the TTC golds from the previous Haste. The shape is very close to a Vaxi XC on paper, so if any of you are looking to upgrade your old wired XC, this might be worth considering. The sides are pretty much flat, with only some very slight downward sloping at the front and very minimal hip flare around the back. The hump sits roughly in the middle. It's low enough that it doesn't interfere with most grip styles, but that also means there's very little palm support for palm claw users. For my 17 by 10 cm hands, this works great for a relaxed claw/fingertip hybrid depending on the situation. Bigger hands will have more options here, but smaller hands will basically be limited to palm gripping. Other than that, the clicks are separated from the shell. There is a bit of side-to-side play on them, but nothing noticeable in game. No buttons on the bottom side, and the DPI button is up top and out of reach for me. Doesn't cause any issues, so all good here. The main clicks have some pre-travel, nothing too drastic, and also some post-travel. They use the Hyperx mechanical switches with a transparent red shell and black dots, rated at 100 million clicks. Not sure if these are rebranded or developed in-house, Hyperx never tells us that. The side buttons are glossy, which is a bad choice in my opinion. They can get slippery and there's zero good reason for them to be this way other than maybe aesthetics. All versions use the TTC Silver scroll wheel encoder, and the wheel itself is fairly easy to spam, quiet but with noticeable steps. No complaints here either. I'll give you a sound test now. Oddly, the main clicks are significantly louder on my unit than the side buttons. Not sure why that is. Now for the coating, shell, and the grip tape. The mouse is built solid, no noteworthy issues regarding integrity. The coating is a textured matte finish, which you will notice is rougher if you're coming from a softer coating. In warmer conditions, I did find it getting a little slippery and picking up skin oils more easily. The grip tape helps with this, nice and textured, not too thick to get in the way. Still, the coating is fine. The mouse is advertised at 53 grams, and that feels about right. I'd still consider this in the acceptable range, if not a bit on the heavier end in 2026. Still, it does make me wonder just how light they could have made this if they had kept the holy design from the original. I'd love to see a hyper-light version of this with all the weight reduction measures if and when they get around to making another Haste. Now let's talk skates. This is my main area of critique with the Haste 2. They are small, which in itself isn't bad, but they have a consistent and noticeable ridge around the edges. In-game they aren't bad, but they will make some real noise if you're using them on a pad with some texture on it. Further, I wouldn't recommend them on an X-Soft style base, as they can dig into the surface and you'll feel the shell contact depending on how much pressure you apply. Considering this is Hyperx's most well-known and successful lineup, I expected better. Get aftermarket skates if you're going to main this mouse and thank me later. The cable is great, rivals the likes of endgame gear stock cables in how flexible and non-intrusive it is. Sadly, the stress relief is not angled to prevent drag, but the cable is rigid enough at the front of the mouse to prevent it from getting under it when pushing it forwards. In a bungee, it's perfectly fine to use. For software, you'll need Hyperx's Ingenuity software, either the current version or the Ingenuity 3 beta. It's serviceable with macros, button remaps, LOD, DPI and polling rate, but it still lacks click debounce adjustment among other features. How that's still missing in 2026 is strange, but they are still working on it, so I'll cut them some slack there. About the in-game performance. It will surprise none of you to know that a flagship from a few years ago performs just as well as anything else. Nothing presented me with any immediately apparent issues, minus the fact that the skates are pretty noisy and have a lot more texture feedback on some mousepads than I would prefer. Other than that, performance was exactly what you'd expect. No issues. Now for the verdict. Should you buy this mouse in 2026? If you're coming from a wired XC, don't care about wireless and can find this for a good price, this is an easy recommendation. Just replace the skates. It's great for most grip styles, light enough to remain competitive and a solid overall performer. I wouldn't recommend paying full retail price, but it's a solid mouse either way and will last you a long time. Way cheaper than the mainstream price gouging wireless offerings, but if you can find this at a discount around $50 or under, then this is far more appealing. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you want to see more.